Hello, welcome back for another video on Ark Survival Ascended, and today I'm going to showcase 40 new features on the new Extinction map. The first half of the video will be free features included with the map, and the second half of the video will be new features from the Bob's Tall Tales DLC pack. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. There's no better way to begin the video than with the behemoth that is the Dreadnoughtus. Finally coming to the game, entering Extinction in style. This thing is an absolute monster, dubbed the Titan Killer, and for good reason. Heavily dealing more damage and taking less damage from Titans in particular. Let's go over its abilities real quick. The Dreadnoughtus has a variety of powerful attacks at its disposal. A head bash frontal attack, dealing some hefty damage and the biggest knockback you've ever seen. A tail swipe attack, also dealing high damage and knockback. Both attacks are great for harvesting berries and are pretty slow to perform, but I guess it would make it pretty overpowered if they could attack as fast as a Bronto. It has two ranged attacks at its disposal. When cannonballs are placed inside its inventory, they can be spat out as acid-coated projectiles. I'm not too sure how this works yet, but as far as I know, it can obliterate structures and can even damage tech tier. I will be diving into the abilities in more detail in a future video. And yes, as you all may have already seen, it has a ranged attack just like Godzilla. This can also be charged up while being attacked by corrupted creatures to maximize its damage output, capping at 20. Oh, and I'm not sure if this is intentional, but yes, it does also appear to heal from sweet veggie cakes. And they can also breed, so I can imagine a fully imprinted one could be a force to be reckoned with. There is a lot to love about the Dreadnoughtus, and I can't wait to pull it through its paces. New weather events are out to devastate the wastes. There were some in ASE, but wow, not like this. How awesome do these meteor showers look? It really is a beautiful sight, if I do say so myself. The weather effects in this game honestly look amazing, and they kind of outdid themselves here. There is also what I believe is lightning storms. I don't think this impacts gameplay in any way, but it does look very cool. Tech creatures are not a new feature, however they did not come with Extinction in ASE. They came with the Extinction Chronicles, so a lot of people were not expecting to see the Tech Raptor, Stego, Parasaur, Rex and Quetzal back with Extinction. Well, they are back and looking bigger and better than ever. The Quetzal is absolutely beautiful. As always, whenever a new map releases, more wild babies release alongside it. You can find baby tech creatures minus the Tech Quetzal, the Armored Doggo from Bob's Tall Tales, which we will get onto later in the video, the Velonosaur, and the Gacha, which is my favourite. Sadly, there's no Snow Owl babies, so once again they were fully baiting us with the trailer where we saw Snow Owl babies in it. I don't know why, but why can't they stop baiting us and just add flyer babies already? The distance that other pairs of Gachas can be to each other before becoming unhappy has been reduced by 33%. So instead of being around 14 foundations apart, I ain't that great at math, but it will now be more around 10 or so foundations in ASA. The Pego has gone from the most annoying creature in the game to being one of the most useful in your base. And I really love that they added this feature to the Pego, as it fits it so well. When accessing its radial menu, it will have the option to enable Gacha Crystal Collection. This feature is awesome. It basically works exactly like an Oviraptor when collecting dropped eggs, but instead of eggs, it will pick up any nearby Gacha crystals, which will go straight into its inventory. The Pego is going to be a must-have for all those Gacha farms. Another change with the Gachas, however, is most likely going to be an unwelcomed one, especially for PvP players, is that Gachas will now be sad when in caves. When sad, they won't pick up any items off the ground and rarely produce Gacha crystals. As you can see, my Gacha is throwing a tantrum. He is not happy about being down here. There are two new giant pre-built structures within the Snow Dome. These buildings look very cool and I can imagine would make for some awesome base spots. Legendary orbital supply drops can now be ran without the loot capping at around wave 13 like it did in ASE. You can now run these after wave 13 to maximize your loot quantity. You can never complain about being rewarded with more tasty loot. Shower me in all that loot. Maybe another controversial change here. Whenever you craft a mech, it will now be spawned into the world, instead of having the option to store it away for a rainy day. You can now find element dust and shard conversion recipes in the tech replicator. Funnily enough, this was not available in Ark Survival Evolved, so this is a much welcome change. If you're a fan of the new Ark Editions creatures that were added to Ark Survival Ascended, then you'll be happy to know that Extinction features spawns for the Ceratosaurus and also the Dinosuchus. I don't expect to see any Archelon or or surfactanous due to there being no ocean on Extinction, but I could be wrong. Probably one of the coolest features of Extinction yet, the King Titan will now appear wandering the wastes once a day for a short period of time, which definitely spices up the gameplay, adding a nice adrenaline rush. A notification will be visible at the top of your screen to notify you he's out and about. Defeating him rewards everyone who participated. Most notably, you will receive a variety of different temporary world buffs. For example, in this clip you can see I got the baby boon buff, where babies will raise up much quicker. Tech bridges are back and have had a nice revamp, looking buttery smooth as ever, just like my backflips. Instead of having a foundation-like base at each end of the bridge, like in ASE, both ends are now flush with the surface that it is placed on from one end to another. It looks really nice. After defeating the King Titan, you will now be rewarded with a nice selection of chibis, and we all love chibis. Another bonus of defeating the King Titan is that Extinction's Ascension now awards maximum player levels, similar to other Ascensions in the game, something that was never in ASE for some strange reason. So it's really nice to see that they added this to ASA's Extinction. Also on the subject of the King Titan and Ascension, after rolling the end credits, there is another animated cutscene which leads us onto a reveal of Ark Lost Colony. This has got to be the new DLC map that will most likely bridge the gap from Extinction to Genesis Part 1. 2025 is going to be an exciting year for ASA. This here is the iconic giant ribcage remains of some unknown species from ASE. Kind of odd that it never had a skull. Well, it does now in ASA, and you can even explore inside the skull. Admittedly, there's not a lot to look at in there, but it's cool to see nonetheless. Geysers were added to the desert dome. Sometimes you've just got to appreciate those simple things in life, and it adds a nice touch to the area. But you better watch your step, because if you don't, you could see yourself being yeeted into oblivion. Once activating an element node, there is now a visible purple aura circling it. Nothing too special, I just thought it added a really nice touch. As always, whenever a new map drops, the loot tables are forever changing. There is definitely a different variety found in cave crates and also orbital supply drops. I am hoping to cover this subject in detail in a future video. It has been routine for Wildcard to give us a lovely new ghillie set with every story map. And here we have another addition for Extinction. This is the Wasteland ghillie skin, which could definitely offer some sweet camouflage out here in the wastes. So the trailer did feature what appeared to be a ridden corrupted Rex. This is rumored to be a skin that you receive after killing the world roaming King Titan. And I must admit, I've killed him many times and still not found one, so if anyone has found it, I would love to hear about it in the comments. The second half of the video will feature every new feature from the Bob's Tall Tales Wasteland War DLC pack. And what better way to kick things off than with the Armor Doggo? Man's best friend has finally arrived in Ark. I won't go into detail too much on it, as I will be making a more in-depth guide nearer to Christmas. The Armor Doggo will stick by your side when faced with any danger when out exploring. Once in companion mode, it cannot die, and if it does take too much damage, it will dig into the ground to recover its health and regroup with you later on. It does take quite a while for it to recover its health, so you may want to pick your fights wisely. Of course, you cannot ride it, but you can equip it with armor and also an array of armor attachments that will benefit you and your Armor Doggo. There are 12 different attachments in total, so there is a lot you can do with your pet to cater to your liking. It has an alert mode similar to that of a Jerboa, but instead of warning you of incoming weather storms, it will warn you of nearby threats, and is even said to be able to scare away a Giga with its bark, which sounds very interesting. You will be given your own dog whistle, where you can give it a variety of different commands. If you ever get yourself into a sticky situation, stuck in a bear trap or put in handcuffs, it doesn't matter. Your Armor Doggo will be there to get you out. A friend in need is a friend indeed. There are many more cool abilities it has, and these are just a small selection. It's by far the coolest pet a survivor can own. The makeshift Mega Lab has a variety of different uses. Requiring element to function, it will work as a chem bench, but this is probably what you won't be using it for, as at the cost of element shards you can respec creatures' leveled stats if for some reason you weren't happy with how you leveled it. It can also be used in equipping unique traits to weapons, armor, etc, etc. For example, here I have a hazmat chest piece with a perk that reduces any debuffs by 10%, and a sword that will deal 40% more damage if attacking from behind. The Blade Wasp Hive is a defensive tower that house what is basically insect swarms from Genesis Part 1, and we all know how annoying those things were. Honey is required to power it, and don't worry, it does have a much longer spoil time when placed inside. Sulfur is used as ammo, and this thing will pester small creatures and will deal damage to flyers over time, and to be fair, you probably wouldn't want your flyer to hang around these things for too long, because after a while it does deal quite a lot of damage. Up next we have the Bio Grinder, and yes, it is exactly what it looks and sounds like, a meat grinder. Requiring gasoline to function, you can basically sacrifice your own tamed creatures to this thing. Stick them on top and let the magic happen. Not only will you receive meats, resources, etc, but whatever kibble is required in taming the creature you slice and dice, it will then turn it into that kibble. The level of the creature also matters. For example, you'll receive more kibble from a high level creature as opposed to a low level. And yes, before you ask, I did try grinding up babies and you get no kibble back from it. The Extinguisher grenade is most definitely going to be very useful, especially in PvP. Once used, it will put out any fire source and give players or tames temporary immunity to being set alight for a short duration of time. Have you ever wanted an upgrade to the primitive spear or the pike? Well, there is now the explosive spear, which can be used as a melee weapon or as a thrown spear that will detonate a few seconds after impact. These spears can also be used to damage structures including metal, and I believe they do destroy tech also. And as you may have guessed, it's pretty fun to use. The Tribe Tower is a new giant tower that you can place in your base that offers some very useful perks to your tribe. This is if you can successfully defend it from enemy tribes. You can only have one tower per tribe. It functions by placing apex trophies inside its inventory and will state how many days those trophies will power it for. It will give the tribe stacking buffs the longer it remains standing, giving your tribe bonuses to XP capping out at 20%, taming speed capping out at 20%, and bonus element rewards from defeating bosses capping out at 30%, which I believe will go up by 1% a day and will reach 30% if the tower remains intact for 30 real days. The devs did say in the extra live stream that it could not be repaired, but it does look like you can every 5 days, so you best get some strong defenses up if you want to defend your tribe towers, because that's a long time to wait for repairs. And just to point out, you can use this structure in PvE also. It is not strictly for PvP. Moving on to one of the most anticipated features of this paid DLC pack, the battle rigs. With 3 different rigs to choose from: the racer, the monster truck, and the buggy. All handling slightly different to one another and having many different customizable options to choose from. I don't know if you remember how terrible the Tech ATV was. Well, it really was shocking. These rigs, however, are a massive upgrade to it. It's no Forza Horizon, that's for sure, but there is going to be no better feeling than cruising through the wasteland with that wind in your hair, sat in the comfort of your own battle rig. Well, other than using one of the many turret attachments and mowing everything down that you come across on your travels. Of course, you cannot have a battle rig without a garage to build one. Here is the battle rig garage. This is where you build your rigs from scratch, with an array of customizable options to choose from, a variety of front end attachments or rear end attachments to cater to your liking, all with unique offensive and defensive capabilities, kinda like the gadgets that James Bond has on his car, and of course a nice range of turrets to choose from, including a minigun, rocket turret, flamethrower turret, and a trank shotgun turret, just to name a few. There is a lot you can do with these battle rigs. With each installment of Bob's Tall Tales comes a new structure skin set, and this is a sneak peek at the Wasteland structure skin. It can be slapped onto almost any building piece in the game: walls, doors, ceilings, pillars, gates, behemoth gates, just to name a few. As expected, the skins are beautiful. It's not just building pieces that you can jazz up. When scrolling through the options, you can slap some nice rustic wasteland skins onto your chairs, tables, benches, etc. There are wasteland lamps and lights that you can craft up to give your base a nice soft touch of lighting, ranging from the bonfire, which looks awesome by the way, a lovely little desk lamp, standing lamp, ceiling lamp, and also the wall lamp. Cue the shortest player skin montage you've ever seen. And that is going to be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more ARK content. And please do leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the new map and all the new features. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.